Today we'll be learning about the agro-climatic regions of India. India has great variations in the geoclimatic, socio-economic and agricultural practices. The variations in the geo-ecological and socio-economic conditions have closely influenced agricultural activities. For the planning of the agriculture, the Planning Commission and the National Remote Sensing Agency have divided the country into 15 agro-climatic regions. Objectives: in today's class, we will learn about agro-climatic regions, green revolution, its objectives, an overview, and its negative and positive impacts. The main objectives of the agro-climatic regions are to optimize agricultural production, to increase farm income, to generate more rural employment, to make a judicious use of available irrigation water, and to reduce the regional inequalities, development of agriculture. These agro-climatic regions, now let's study about them. As you can see a map, this shows you the agro-climatic divisions. First we have the Western Himalayan region, next we have the Eastern Himalayan region, the Sutlej Yamuna plain, next the Upper Ganga plain, next the Middle Ganga plain, the Lower Ganga plain, the Eastern Plateau and Hills, the Aravalli Malwa upland, the Plateau, Maharashtra, the Deccan interior, the Eastern coastal plain, the Western coastal plain, the Gujarat region, the Western Rajasthan and the islands, Andaman and Nicobar and Maldives. Firstly, the Western Himalayan region. This particular region stretches over the Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh, Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand. There is great variation in the topography. The average temperature of July varies between 5 to 30 degrees Celsius, while the January temperature reads between 15 degrees Celsius to minus 5 degrees Celsius. The mean annual rainfall varies between 75 to 150 centimeters except Ladakh, where it is below 20 centimeters. The valley of Kashmir, Kullu and Doon have thick alluvial soils, while the hills and mountains have thin cover of the brown soils. This region has perennial rivers, some of which are utilized for irrigation and hydel power generation. Rice, maize, wheat, barley, oilseeds, pulses, potato and vegetables are the main crops of the region. Temperate fruits like apples, peach, pears, almond, apricot, walnut, etc. are the source of cash for the cultivators. Though the geographical conditions for the region are well suited for orchards and plantation crops, there is a need of improvement in the old, less productive varieties of fruits. A more judicious land use planning is required for the region. Land should be rationally allotted for cultivation of crops, horticulture, pastures and forestry. Better quality of seeds and planting materials should be made available for growing fruits, vegetables, flowers, saffron, ginger and potato. Next we have the Eastern Himalayan region. This region sprawls over Arunachal Pradesh, hills of Assam, Nagaland, Meghalaya, Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura, Sikkim and Darjeeling district of West Bengal. It has a rugged topography. The temperature of July varies between 25 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius and of January between 10 to 20 degrees Celsius. The soil is red-brown and less productive. About 33% of the total cultivated area is under jhumming or shifting cultivation. Rice, maize, potato, tea, orchards, pineapple, lime, lychee, oranges, etc. are the main crops. Shifting cultivation should be controlled by developing terrace farming. Soil erosion is another important problem which needs immediate attention of the planners. The region needs marked improvement in infrastructural facilities to accelerate the pace of agricultural development. Moreover, a long-term quality seed production suitable for the region needs to be implemented. Well, the next region is the Sutlej Yamuna plain. It stretches over the Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh, Delhi and Ganganagar district of Rajasthan. The climate has a semi-arid characteristics with July's mean monthly temperature between 25 to 35 degrees Celsius and that of January between 10 to 20 degrees Celsius. The average annual rainfall varies between 50 to 100 centimeters. The soil is alluvial, which is highly productive. Apart from the canals, there are lakhs of tube wells and pumping sets installed by the cultivators and the governments. The intensity of agriculture is the highest in the country. Wheat, rice, sugarcane, cotton, maize, gram, millets, pulses, oilseeds and orchids are the main crops. The farmers of this region are most innovative and progressive. The high-yielding varieties of rice and wheat were adopted first by the farmers of this region, which led to the Green Revolution. At present, contract farming has been started by the corporate sector in some of the districts of this particular region. Development of saline and alkaline patches, water logging and soil erosion are the main problems of this region. Agriculturally, this is the most developed part of the country. Agriculture may be made more productive and sustainable with few of the steps. Let's look at them. Less area to be devoted to rice as it is depleting the underground water table and the fertility of the soil. Nearly 5% of the rice and wheat area may be diverted to pulses, oilseeds, maize, fodder, vegetables, flowers and orchids. Pests and disease resistant seeds of rice and wheat need to be developed. Horticulture should be promoted. Emphasis should be made on the cultivation of vegetables. High quality fodder crops should be developed and steps should be taken for the diversification of agriculture. Region, which is the Upper Ganga Plain. It stretches over the western UP and the Haridwar and the Udham Singh Nagar districts of Uttarakhand up to Allahabad or Prayagraj of Uttar Pradesh. The July temperature varies between 25 degrees Celsius and 35 degrees Celsius, and that of January between 15 degrees to 25 degrees Celsius. The soil varies from sandy loamy to clayey loamy. Adequate facilities of irrigation by canals and tube well are available. Agriculture is well developed and Green Revolution is a big success in this region also. Wheat, rice, sugarcane, maize, millets, fodder, pulses, oilseeds and vegetables are the main crops. Mango and guava orchards are also quite significant in the agricultural landscape. In order to make agriculture more productive and sustainable, there should be emphasis on mixed cropping, horticulture, floriculture, judicious use of irrigation water, lining of canals, reclamation of saline or alkaline soils. Now let's move on to the Middle Ganga Plain. It sprawls over the greater parts of eastern Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. The July temperature varies between 25 degrees Celsius and 35 degrees Celsius, and that of January between 15 to 25 degrees Celsius. The average annual rainfall varies between 100 centimeters and 150 centimeters. The soil is alluvial and there is great potential of underground water. Rice, wheat, barley, maize, millets, pulses, mustard, sugarcane and oilseeds are the main crops. Agriculturally, these plains are less developed than the upper Ganga plains. Agriculture can be made more productive and sustainable to improve the input delivery system and diversification of crops by giving more area to vegetables, fruits and floriculture. Dairying, silviculture, agroforestry and pisciculture can also go a long way in improving the income of the farmers. Next we have the Lower Ganga Plain. This particular region stretches over the Brahmaputra Valley, West Bengal, excluding Darjeeling district and eastern Bihar. The July temperature varies between 25 and 35 degrees Celsius and that of Jan between 18 to 25 degrees Celsius. The mean annual rainfall varies between 100 and 200 centimeters. The soil is alluvial and highly productive. Rice is the main crop. From the same field, the farmers obtain 2 or 3 successive rice crops, Aman, As and Boro in a year. Jute, maize, pulses and potato are the other important crops of the region. Development of horticulture, that is banana, mango and citrus fruits, pisciculture, poultry and livestock can enhance the income of cultivators substantially. Next we have the Eastern Plateau and the hills. The Chota Nagpur Plateau stretching over Jharkhand, Odisha, Chhattisgarh and Dandakaranya are included in the Agro-climatic region. The mean monthly temperature of July ranges between 25 to 35 degrees Celsius and that of Jan between 18 to 25 degrees Celsius. The mean annual rainfall ranges between 100 and 150 centimeters. Soils are red and yellow. The agriculture in this region is mainly rain-fed. The main crops are rice, maize, millets, ragi, oilseeds, gram and tobacco. The cultivation of high-value crops like oilseeds, pulses, vegetables can increase the income of farmers. Water harvesting and watershed development as well as soil conservation practices can make the agriculture more remunerative. Next we have the Aravali Malwa upland. This particular region includes Bundelkhand, Bhagelkhand, Mahabharat Plateau, Malwa Plateau and the Vindhyachal Hills. This region is characterized by semi-arid climatic conditions. Mean July temperature reads between 25 to 35 degrees Celsius, while the mean January temperature ranges between 15 to 25 degrees Celsius. The soil is mixed yellow, red and black. It has scarcity of water, both surface and underground. Millets, wheat, gram, pulses, oilseeds, cotton and sunflower are the main crops. Agriculture returns can be improved by farming, sprinkle irrigation, water harvesting, dairying development and poultry farming. Next we have the plateau of Maharashtra. It stretches largely on the Deccan Plateau. This is a region of Regur soil or the black earth soil. The July temperature ranges between 25 to 35 degrees Celsius, while the mean monthly temperature in Jan ranges between 15 to 25 degrees Celsius. The average annual rainfall varies between 50 to 75 centimeters. Wheat, gram, millets, cotton, pulses, groundnut and oilseeds are the main crops in the rain-fed areas, while in the irrigated areas, sugarcane, rice and wheat are cultivated. In place of coarse grains, value crops like pulses and oilseeds need to be cultivated. About 5% of the cotton area may be transferred to the oilseeds. Dairy development, poultry farming and social forestry are the other aspects of agricultural landscape which deserve immediate attention. Next we have the Deccan interior. The Deccan interior sprawls over the greater parts of Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu uplands from the Adilabad district in the north to Madurai district in the south. The mean monthly temperatures of July vary between 25 to 35 degrees Celsius and the mean Jan temperature reads between 20 to 25 degrees Celsius. This region records rainfall between 50 to 100 centimeters. This is essentially a dry farming area where millets, pulses, oilseeds, groundnut, coffee, tea, cardamom and spices are the main crops. The area under millets and bajra can be devoted to pulses. Development of horticulture, poultry and dairy farming can help farmers in the augmentation of their income. Next we have the eastern coastal plain. This particular region sprawls over the Coromandel and the northern Sarkar coasts of Andhra Pradesh and Odisha. The mean July temperature ranges between 25 and 35 degrees Celsius and the mean Jan temperature between 20 and 30 degrees Celsius. The mean annual rainfall varies between 75 and 150 centimeters. The main crops of this region are rice, jute, tobacco, sugarcane, maize, millets, pulses, groundnut and oilseeds. Area from coarse grains needs to be shifted to high value crops like pulses and tobacco. Development of dairying, poultry, fisheries and social forestry deserve more attention and investment. Next we have the western coastal plains. This particular region stretches over the western fringes of the states of Maharashtra and Karnataka and Kerala. In the north, it is known as the Konkan coastal plains and the southern parts as the Malabar coastal plains. The mean July temperature varies between 25 and 30 degrees Celsius and mean January temperatures between 18 and 30 degrees Celsius. The mean annual rainfall is more than 200 centimeters. Rice, oilseeds, sugarcane, millets, pulses, cotton and coconut are the main crops. Moreover, spices are raised along the hill slopes of the Western Ghats. Rising of high value crops like pulses, spices and coconut should get more agricultural area. Development of the infrastructural facilities and promotion to prawn culture in the brackish water should get preference. Next we have the Gujarat plains and hills. This particular region consists of the hills and plains of Kathiawar and the fertile valleys of Mahi and the Sabarmati rivers. It is an arid and semi-arid region where the July temperature reads about 30 degrees Celsius and that of January about 25 degrees Celsius. The mean annual rainfall varies between 50 and 100 centimeters. Groundnut, cotton, rice, maize, millets, oilseeds, wheat, pulses and tobacco are the main crops. It is an important oilseeds producing area. The major thrust of development in the region should be on canal and groundwater management, rainwater harvesting, agroforestry in the region and the brackish or backwater aquaculture in coastal areas. Now we have the western region. This particular region stretches over Rajasthan, west of Aravalli mountains and northern Gujarat. The mean July and January temperatures vary between 40 degree and 15 degrees Celsius respectively. The mean annual rainfall is less than 25 centimeters. Bajra, pulses and fodder are the main crops. Livestock contributes greatly to the desert ecology. Rainwater harvesting, horticulture of date palm, watermelon and plums deserve more attention. Next we have the island region. This region includes Andaman and Nicobar, Lakshadweep, which have marine equatorial climates. At Port Blair, the mean July and January temperatures read 30 degrees and 25 degrees Celsius respectively. Rice, maize, millets, bajra, pulses, areca nut, turmeric and cassava are the main crops. The main thrust in the development of agriculture should be on crop improvement, water management and fisheries. Brackish water prawn culture should be promoted in the coastal areas. Well, those were the 15 agricultural classification regions. The Green Revolution was an endeavor initiated by Norman Borlaug in the 1960s. He is known as the father of Green Revolution in the world. It led him to winning the Nobel Peace Prize in 1970 for his work in developing high-yielding varieties of wheat. In India, the Green Revolution was mainly led by M.S. Swaminathan. The Green Revolution resulted in a great increase in production of food grains, especially wheat and rice, due to introduction into the developing countries of new high-yielding variety seeds beginning in the mid-20th century. Its early dramatic successes were in Mexico and the Indian subcontinent. The Green Revolution, spreading over a period from 1967-68 to 1977-78, changed India's status from a food deficit country to one of the world's leading agricultural nations. The objectives of Green Revolution were firstly short term. The revolution was launched to address India's hunger crisis during the second 5-year plan. Long term goals were objectives included the overall agricultural modernization based on rural development, industrial development, infrastructure, raw material, etc. Employment, to provide employment to both agricultural and industrial workers. Scientific studies, producing stronger plants which could withstand extreme climates and diseases. Globalization of the agricultural world, by spreading technology to non-industrialized nations and setting up many corporations in the major agricultural areas. Now let's look at the basic elements of Green Revolution. Firstly, expansion of the farming areas. Although the area of land under cultivation was being increased from 1947 itself, this was not enough to meet the rising demand. The Green Revolution provided assistance in this quantitative expansion of the farmlands. Double cropping system. Double cropping was a primary feature of the Green Revolution. This decision was made to have 2 crop seasons per year instead of just 1. The 1 season per year practice was based on the fact that there was only 1 rainy season annually. Water for the second phase now came from huge irrigation projects. Dams were built and other simple irrigation techniques were also adopted. Using seeds with improved genetics. Using seeds with superior genetics was the scientific aspect of Green Revolution. The Indian Council for Agricultural Research developed new strains of high-yielding variety seeds, mainly wheat, rice, millet and corn. Let's look at few of the important crops in the revolution. Main crops were wheat, rice, jowar, bajra and maize. Non-food grains were excluded from the ambit of the new strategy. Wheat remained the mainstay of the Green Revolution for years. Now let's look at the Green Revolution in India. Let's look at the background firstly. In 1943, India suffered from the world's worst recorded food crisis, the Bengal famine, which led to the death of approximately 4 million people in eastern India due to hunger. Even after independence in 1947 until 1967, the government largely concentrated on expanding the farming areas. But the population was growing at a much faster rate than food production. This called for an immediate and drastic action to increase yield. The action came in the form of Green Revolution. The Green Revolution in India refers to a period when Indian agriculture was converted into an industrial system due to the adoption of modern methods and technology such as the use of high-yield variety seeds, tractors, irrigation facilities, pesticides and fertilizers. It was funded by the United States and Indian government and the Ford and Rockefeller Foundation. The Green Revolution in India is largely the wheat revolution, as the wheat production increased by more than 3 times between 1967-68 and 2003-4. While the overall increase in the production of the cereals was only 2 times. Now let's look at the positive impacts of Green Revolution. It led to tremendous increase in the crop produce. It resulted in a grain output of 131 million tons in the year 1978-79 and established India as one of the world's biggest agricultural producers. The crop area under high-yielding varieties of wheat and rice grew considerably during the Green Revolution, reduced import of food grains. India became self-sufficient in the food grains and had sufficient stock in the central pool. Even at times, India was in a position to export food grains. The per capita net availability of food grains has also increased. It led to benefit to the farmers. The introduction of Green Revolution helped the farmers in raising their level of income. Farmers ploughed back their surplus income for improving agricultural productivity. The big farmers with more than 10 hectares of land were particularly benefited by the revolution by investing large amounts of money in various inputs like high-yielding variety seeds, fertilizers, machines, etc. It also promoted capitalist farming. Next, we have the industrial growth. The revolution brought about large-scale farm mechanization, which created demand for different types of machines like tractors, harvesters, threshers, combines, diesel engines, electric motors, pumping sets, etc. Besides, demand for chemical fertilizers, pesticides, insecticides, weedicides, etc. also increased considerably. Several agricultural products were also used as raw materials in various industries known as agro-based industries. Next, we have the rural employment. There was an appreciable increase in the demand for labor force due to multiple cropping and use of the fertilizers. The Green Revolution created plenty of jobs not only for agricultural workers but also industrial workers by creating related facilities such as factories and hydroelectric power stations. Let's look at the negative impacts of the Green Revolution. Non-food grains left out. Although all food grains including wheat, rice, jowar, bajra, maize have gained from the revolution, other crops such as coarse cereals, pulses and oilseeds were left out of the ambit of the revolution. Major commercial crops like cotton, jute, tea and sugarcane were also left almost untouched by the Green Revolution. Next, we have the limited coverage of high-yielding variety. The high-yielding variety program was restricted to only 5 crops: wheat, rice, jowar, bajra and maize. Therefore, non-food grains were excluded from the ambit of the new strategy. The high-yielding variety seeds in the non-food crops were either not developed so far or they were not good enough for the farmers to risk their adoption. Next major problem was the regional disparities. Green Revolution technology has given birth to growing disparities in economic development at inter and intra-regional levels. It has so far affected only 40% of the total cropped area and 60% is still untouched by it. The most affected areas are Punjab, Haryana and Western UP in the north and Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu in the south. It has hardly touched the eastern region including Assam, Bihar, West Bengal and Odisha, and arid and semi-arid areas of western and southern India. The Green Revolution affected only those areas which were already better placed from the agricultural point of view. Thus, the problem of regional disparities has further aggravated as a result of Green Revolution. Next, we have the excessive usage of chemicals. The Green Revolution resulted in a large-scale use of pesticides and synthetic nitrogen fertilizers for improved irrigation projects and crop varieties. However, little or no efforts were made to educate farmers about the high risk associated with the intensive use of pesticides. Pesticides were sprayed on crops usually by untrained farm laborers without following instructions or precautions. This causes more harm than good to the crops and also becomes a cause of environment and soil pollution. Next, water consumption. The crops introduced during the Green Revolution were water-intensive crops. Most of these crops, being cereals, required almost 50% of the dietary water footprint. Canal systems were introduced and irrigation pumps also sucked out the groundwater to supply the water-intensive crops such as sugarcane and rice, thus depleting the groundwater levels. Punjab is a major wheat and rice cultivating area, and hence it is one of the highest water depleted regions in India. Next, the impact on soil and crop production. Repeated crop cycle in order to ensure increased crop production depleted the soil's nutrients. To meet the needs of new kinds of seeds, farmers increased fertilizer usage. The pH level of the soil increased due to the usage of these alkaline chemicals. Toxic chemicals in the soil destroyed beneficial pathogens, which further led to the decline in the yield. Next, we have unemployment. Except in Punjab and to some extent in Haryana, farm mechanization under the Green Revolution created widespread unemployment among the agricultural laborers in the rural areas. The worst affected were the poor and the landless laborers. Health hazards. The large-scale use of chemical fertilizers and pesticides such as phosphemidone, methomyl, phorate, trizophs and monocrotophs resulted in a number of critical health illnesses including cancer, renal failure, stillborn babies and birth defects. Conclusion. Agro-climatic regions are one of the kind in India. There are many varieties of crops that can be produced in India, provided that agriculture sector provides employment to more than 50% of the population. Agro-climatic region study becomes important. Green Revolution is a stepping stone in Indian history which has aided the country in every way to become self-sufficient in terms of food availability. Well, this was our lesson on agro-climatic regions in India. Hope you've had a great lesson. Thank you and have a nice day.